Hey there, pre-matriculants. Welcome to Educate Siseka Bangoku. Today we're doing November 2024. That is last year paper. And here we are doing slope elements. 2.4 says, refer to the sketch on slope elements. We are given the sketch. So basically, I strongly recommend that you watch my previous video on slope elements when I was introducing them. I basically use this image exactly as it is so that it becomes very easier for you to identify and label each and every slope element. So here, let's just label each and every slope element here and identify before we answer questions. Slope element E, we say that it is a crest. Slope element F, it is a cliff. Slope element G, it is a talus slope, as well as slope element H, it is a pediment slope. So we have got 4 slope elements. Those are the main types. Now 2.4.1 asks us, from the sketch above, which slope elements have the following shapes? Remember, the shapes of slope elements are 3. We have got a regular slope element, we have got a concave slope element, as well as a convex slope element. And here we have been asked him, from which of the above slope elements would we find the following shapes? 2.4.1 says A, which slope element is convex shaped? So basically we know that when the slope element it is a convex shape, it just simply means that it is gentle at the top, but it is steeper as you go down through that slope. And we know that from this diagram it is the crest. So the crest, it is convex shaped, because you can see that at the top of the crest, or at the toppest part of the crest here, it is a bit gentle, but as you go down with the crest, it becomes steep in a gradual manner. So the crest, it is a convex shaped slope. And then B, they say which slope elements have the following shapes? The concave slope. Remember that the concave slope, it is characterized by being it is a steep at the top, and then it becomes gentle as you go down. So it is steep at the top, and we know that that suits the pediment. So the pediment, it is that slope. So it is the pediment. But here, since they've said that from the above sketch, I think it is very safer for you to write the letters. The crest is E, and then the pediment is H. All right. Just write the letters because they said from the above sketch. And in the above sketch, you're not really given labels. So just to be safe, you can write the letters and then write the names. And then 2.4.2. So on 2.4.2, they say choose the answer between the brackets. Now they say a distinct change in the angle of the slope between the talus and the pediment is known as a what? Remember that we have talked about the nick point. All right, here we're given 2 points. We're given a nick point or a scap retreat. Remember, scap retreat simply means that the scap is being eroded sideways, and this has nothing to do with a phase change. So when they were talking about a phase change or a break, or just this a line that is between the talus and the pediment, so it is known as a what? As a nick point. So basically that is a distinct change in the angle of the slope. So let's not just get into the mathematics of the angle and whatnot. Just know that a nick point, it is just the point whereby the talus and the pediment are meeting. So in this case, the answer is going to be nick point. So our answer here, it is nick point. And then 2.4.3 says name the geomorphological process. Guys, remember the geomorphological processes that we have in each and every slope. You are supposed to know them. I made sure that I introduced them in my previous video. So the geomorphological process that is dominant at slope E. Remember, slope E, it is a crest. All right, the crest, the main process that is occurring there, it is weathering. That is the main geomorphological process. It is weathering as well as soil creep. So those two are the main processes. And here they say 1 times 2. So it's, maybe it's probably one process for 2 marks, but I just mentioned the 2 of them. We have got weathering. So at the crest, we have got weathering that is occurring, as well as soil creep. Those 2. We have got weathering as well as soil creep. Remember, basically, when you're talking about weathering, it just means that the larger rocks are being broken down into slightly smaller rocks, all right, through through all those processes. So it's just a process whereby the larger rocks are being broken down. And then soil creep, remember, it's just basically the soil that is creeping away. The soil, it is just moving down because the crest, remember, it is very steep here at this point. So basically, we have got soil that is creeping there. So those are the two main geomorphological processes occurring at the crest or at the top of the mountain. And then now 2.4.4, right? 2.4.4 asks us to describe the characteristics of slope elements F and G. Remember, the slope element F, it is the cliff, and then the slope element G, it is the talus. So here you are given a 2x2, which is 4 marks. So you need to describe at least 2 characteristics for these 2 elements, for these 2 slope elements. So what do you know about the cliff? Anything that you know about the cliff. So I'll just write the cliff, or you just say it is slope element number F. What any 2 characteristics do you know about the cliff? We definitely know that the cliff, it is vertical. It is a vertical slope. It looks like a vertical slope. So it is basically looking like a vertical slope. So basically, we say that the cliff, it is a what? It is a vertical slope. That is the shape. Okay, that is the shape. It is not concave. It is not convex. It is a vertical slope. That is one of the characteristics that you can mention. You can also mention that the cliff, it is very steep as well. Okay, it suggests the same thing as saying it's a vertical slope, but you can say that it is a very steep slope because we've said that the cliff, it is very steep. Since it looks like a vertical slope, if you are going to stand here on the cliff, you are not going to stand straight. You are going to fall there. Don't even try it. So basically, this cliff, it is a very steep slope. The other characteristic that you can note about the cliff is that the cliff, it makes an angle that is at least above 80 degrees or something like that. So basically, I probably didn't mention this in my previous video, but basically the angle of the cliff, the angle that the cliff makes, it is above 80 degrees. So I don't know if that's significant, but it can count as well. So the angle is above 80 degrees. So this is the angle that is made by the cliff. It is above 80 degrees. So we can say that this is more than 2. This is even more than enough. So basically, we just need 2 characteristics about slope F. You can also mention the process that's happening at F. That's one of its characteristics. There is mass movement occurring. So you can mention that and say that at the cliff, we have got mass movement that is occurring. So you can say that mass movement occurs. So mention as much as you can, especially when you are not sure which ones are the correct ones. So mass movement occurs at the cliff. So all of these are characteristics of the cliff. And then now the talus, it is this slope, this other one. So this is slope G. The talus, remember that it has got a gradual gradient. It is not concave. It is not slope. It's not convex. It is not regular, but it has got a gradual. It has got the same gradient. Yeah, but you can say it's a regular slope. Yeah, it has got the same gradient. So you can say that the gradient is the same. All right. So gradient is the same. The gradient is the same. What other thing can you say instead of saying the gradient is the same? You can say that the talus is a regular slope. The talus is a regular slope. So when you say that the talus is a regular slope, it simply means that the talus has got the same gradient at all points. We will introduce these things about slopes, right? And the other thing that you can say about the talus, you can talk about the main process occurring there. All right, the talus, remember that the main geomorphological process occurring at the talus, it is deposition. So the rock that is falling, that has been weathered on top at the crest, it is falling and it is going to be accumulating, or it is going to be putting itself here at the talus. Okay, so it is just going to be accumulating here at the what? At the talus. So the main geomorphological process occurring at the talus, it is deposition. So you can say that there is deposition that is occurring. So the deposition occurs at the talus slope. So there are many other things that you can talk about the talus. You can talk about the angle it makes. So the angle that is made by the talus is somewhere around 35 degrees or something like that. So it has got an angle I think it's above 35 degrees. I'm not sure. But that is just not significant. We won't even explain where is that angle between what and what. Just know that the talus has got an angle of 35 degrees. This is not a maths class after all. So now let's go to 2.4.5. So 2.4.5 says evaluate the impact of slope element H on human activities. So now slope element H, we've already identified it to be the pediment. So we've said that slope element H, it is the pediment. So now what is the impact? The impact, it can be a positive impact, it can be a negative impact, but it must be an impact of slope element H on human activities. Remember, the pediment, we said that it is the most user-friendly. It is a very good slope element, especially for us to do commercial activities. Why do we say that? Remember, this is a 3x2 question. So it means you are mentioning 3 points for 2 marks each. So 3 points for 2 marks each. So any 3 points that makes the pediment a good place for us humans, or that makes it to have good impact or negative impacts on us humans. We can talk about the soil quality at the pediment. So basically, the soil at the pediment is fertile. So we have got soil that has got good quality, or we've got fertile soil at the pediment. That is the cause. Okay, we can just more like that say that that is a characteristic. And how does that impact us as humans? The soil is fertile, so this allows us as humans to do what? To do farming. So it allows for agricultural activities, or you can mention any other commercial activities that you think can be enabled by this fertile soil. So it allows for agricultural activities. That's how you get the 2 marks. When you are doing these paragraphs question, or when you are doing these questions whereby you have to answer something for 2 marks, you are explaining something, you are evaluating. So here, the soil is fertile. That's a point. So how does that fertile soil impact us as humans? It allows for agricultural activities. If you're just going to say that the pediment is suitable for agricultural activities, that's just only going to be 1 mark, because you didn't explain to us in the world, Uti, why are you not, what actually causing us to do agricultural activities on the pediment? It is because it has got fertile soil. That's how you explain. Those 2 marks questions, you must give us a cause and an effect. Okay, give us a cause and an effect. So in this case, we can just say the cause here is fertile soil. So since fertile soil is the cause, what effect does it have on us as humans? It allows us to have agricultural activities. So basically make sure that you know how to answer questions properly. All right. And then now what other impact can the pediment have on us? You know that the pediment, it is in terms of gradient, the pediment, it has got more of a gentle gradient. It is slightly concave, but it has got more of a gentle gradient, because here on top you can see it's a bit steep. It's not that steep, it's a bit steep, but as you go down, most of the pediment, it is a kind of flat. So basically it's a gentle gradient. So we can say that the gradient is gentle. That's a cause. That's a cause. So here the gradient of the pediment, the gradient is gentle. Now, since we have got a gentle gradient at the pediment, how does that now impact us, or how does that impact the human activities? Because we've already mentioned that we have a gradient that is gentle, or we have a flat gradient. What can we do on a flat land? We can build, we can construct, we can settle there, we can do many things using a gentle gradient. So basically, you can say that it allows for construction, allows humans to construct. Can mention whatever English that you want there, but basically I can say that it allows for humans to construct whatever you are constructing, maybe road networks, or maybe you are constructing I don't know, anything that you can do, any activities that can benefit the economy. So this is due to this gentle gradient that we find at the pediment. All right, so that's one of the impacts. There are many things that you can still mention about the gentle gradient as well. You can use one cause and have multiple effects, because basically this gentle gradient, it doesn't only allow us to construct road networks. We can construct other things. We can probably we can probably build houses there. We can actually settle there. So I can take this one and say that the gradient is gentle, but I still need to mention that we have got a gentle gradient. So the gradient is gentle. That's a cause. So what other effect can this have? It can allow me to build settlements. So allows humans to settle or to build settlements. So you can mention as many as you want humans to build settlements. Remember that this is geography. You do not have only one aim. Do not have only one option to go. You have got multiple options as long as you can give a cause and an effect. So here, the cause here, the gradient is gentle. What does that allow us as humans to do? It allows us to build settlements. We can settle them. You can say that the gradient is gentle. You can build business, whatever that you want to say, but make sure that it has got sense at least. But basically, I'll just take these 3 and that will be 6 marks. So basically, make sure that you understand how to answer questions. Understand the characteristics of each slope, starting from the crest to the cliff to G, which is the talus, and to the pediment. Remember also that at the cliff, the most common economic activity that you can do there is recreational activities such as hiking, such as mountain climbing, such as maybe bungee jumping or something like that. But always capitalize on those ideas and you'll be able to ace your paper. So thank you so much, grade 11s, for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends to also stay tuned.